Hello and welcome to A Stardust Year by episode 329. I'm Chris, and joining me today are...
Ames.
Caitlin.
And Jakey.
Nope, we're speeding through. Faster, Jake, faster.
And we are finally to the end of Season 1, starting Season 2 Enterprise with the episode Shockwave. I want to get through this because I am sleepy.
Dude, we gotta... Yeah, but you're not understandable. You gotta slow down.
Jake will slow it down on the edit. It'll be fine.
No, I won't.
No, you won't, but it's you're too fast. It's not clear.
I should have hired the Micro Machines guy. He's fast and understandable. So in Shockwave, the Enterprise is visiting to a planet that wants to see them for once, and what do? Explode its atmosphere.
Oh my god! Did people die for a change?
Finally.
I thought the same thing.
Thousands of people.
Literally, yes! I was like, wow, they just killed everybody they haven't killed this whole time.
They saved all the death for this one moment.
And I was sitting there wondering, like, okay, are they gonna undo it at the end? They don't. So those 3,600 people
undo a different death.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to that.
Fuck's sake.
Let's get to it.
Anyway, so they go to a planet, they blow it up. Archer calls home and is like, we blew up a planet. And Admiral Forrest is like, oh, shit. And of course, the Vulcans are like, you fucking idiots. So they're going to recall the Enterprise, but then, like, Daniel shows up, because apparently he's not dead, but he is, but I don't know. His time travel is weird, and is like, no, it was the Suliban, because this Temporal Cold War is getting hot. And there was a device planted on their shuttle pod to make the atmosphere explode. And Daniels tells them how to find the Suliban and some evidence, and they do. But then the Suliban catch up to them, and they're like, give us Archer. And Archer's like, fuck, fine. But then he goes into a turbo lift, and whoa, no, it's the 31st century, but everything's dead.
Yay, more death.
The Suliban are on the Enterprise looking for Archer, and they're like, told you so, they aren't there. Everyone gets locked in their bedroom. Everyone makes a plan, including Mayweather, but Mayweather doesn't get to be involved in the plan beyond the planning stages.
God damn it.
So
Poor
they do like
Mayweather.
a prison break. Meanwhile, Archer's in the future with fucking Daniels in his bad still suit.
Archer's in the future with Daniels.
And Daniels is like, oh, in my time, we do time travel in high school. And it's like, I'm glad you're dead. I'm glad you're back alive so you can hopefully die again. God, I hate you. And they send Archer's head back in time, and he's all, T'Pol, I'm the great and powerful wizard of fuck you. And they have Reed find Daniel's stuff very conspicuously, so the Suliban kick the shit out of him. To which later T'Pol says he sustained minor injuries. You bitch, what is a major injury?
He has a new face now.
Seriously. So, Suliban Joe there is like, oh good, I can get in touch with my boss, because what his bosses apparently didn't realize is they undid themselves by fucking with time. But instead of his boss, he gets face kicked by Archer in what is probably one of the first genuinely cool moments in this show.
Does it make up for him in that room with no atmosphere? Or no
Yeah. But so they go back to Earth with the evidence, and Ambassador Dickhead is still like, I don't know, I still think you're jerks. And Trip gives him what for, but then T'Pol gives him a Vulcan what for, which he finds much more upsetting. And surprising no one, the Enterprise is going to keep tootling around. The end.
Yeah, that's about it.
Oh, and also, I don't know who decided Hoshi's shirt should come off when she falls from the ceiling, but I hope they're a deeply unhappy person now.
I want them shot.
Completely gratuitous and unnecessary. It had no bearing on the plot.
Just fuck you, Enterprise.
Just remember,
fuck you.
We want our teenage boy fan base to keep watching next season.
But yeah, all during that plan. All during that plan, it was like, poor Mayweather. He was involved in, like, putting it all together, but he stayed in his room.
Yeah. I thought that was very funny in a very sad way.
Yeah, it's like, wow, starting off season 2, letting everyone know, yeah, we're still not gonna use Mayweather.
Yeah, something really irritated me about that Hoshi scene, that whole plan, and
the whole more making Hoshi crawl around in the congested tubes.
it's really just I think there's possibly a continuity error and not one caused by Daniels. Because when Trip first contacts Reed and they're having their conversation, Trip says, I can only get through to people on B deck. I'm working to get, and I can only talk to you, and Paul's not picking up because she's being tortured.
Oh yeah, I forgot that part.
But I'm working to figure out how to get to people on C deck and talk to Travis and Hoshi. Later, we do get in touch. Everyone is talking. We got a little party line going. Hoshi is climbing around in ceiling air ducts. So we can assume that that's the ceiling of C deck where she is.
Sure.
Which means that Phlox is also on C deck because she reaches down to get the hypo from him.
Yep.
And then she drops down into the corridor when she loses her shirt and opens up Reed's door. But Reed should be on B deck.
Yeah.
Were there any
what the fuck?
Vertical shafts she had to shimmy down?
We don't see that. We never see this.
Huh.
But I mean, I suppose that's the only possibility is if she had to climb up something.
Now, do we know for a fact the decks are vertical and not just side by side?
No, that's how decks work.
Normally it's deck 1 and deck 2, deck this.
I feel like on the
other
like
series,
historically on boats, they're like lettered decks. Like I know, like the Titanic had lettered decks like that. So
they're kind of continuing that with this.
Yeah, and then maybe once they start getting ships that have 20 and 30 decks, they're like, we should number them. We don't have to have deck AA and deck AB.
And we can just have the numbers go in any order we want, according to Star Trek V.
Yeah, that's right. And we can have, just the numbers don't even matter. We'll just have like deck 80 or something.
Yeah.
It's my favorite number.
God, I
think the whole like crawling around in ducts and watching Trip do the whole like wire something in the wall so he can talk to Reed is the kind of shit we should have seen in Acquisition.
Yeah.
When the Ferengi took over, and then all we did was creep around and do nothing with our time. When there's all this interesting, like, sabotagey stuff we can be doing, kludging together things from wires, crawling around in ducts. Better episode.
Maybe it's a good sign? Maybe things are looking up?
Yeah, because that's what I will say about both this as a two-parter and these two episodes in general. This is probably the first time in Enterprise I have felt like there are any fucking stakes.
Yeah.
Things are happening.
That's good.
Yeah. Like,
I'm intrigued.
There was only one moment where I felt like the pacing was a little where, like, I feel like they spent a little too long on everyone's moping, but it ended, and then the episode just got fucking going.
Yeah. Like,
what do you mean? What do you mean everyone's moping?
After they'd blown up the planet and they still thought it was their fault.
I don't know. It seemed like enough time to me. You just killed 3,600 people.
Yeah, I guess it felt like it was starting to go a little long, but then they stopped. So,
yeah, and and I did like this is probably among the first times that I liked Archer.
Yes,
because he was acting like a human being.
No, that's it. He was just acting.
Well, yes, he was acting. Yes. Scott Bakula was like, "Oh, right, I have a job."
I thought he really did a great job on this, actually. Like considering the huge range of emotions, like you could read them all in his face. But anyway, Jake, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and like, and he was kind of pissy to Paul, which what else is new? But it made sense, like
because he was more pissy at himself. It was coming out.
At himself.
He was wicked pissy at Malcolm.
Yeah, well, he was pissy at everybody.
They're like, it's not time to like place blame on anybody. And Archer's like, nope, I blame Reed immediately. And
after all I did to find out what kind of cake you like, you betray me.
Well, the thing is, and again, I can understand in that moment.
Oh yeah.
Being kind of like, okay, we got to figure out whose fault this is.
Well, yeah,
but he's a scapegoat.
But also, he's like the captain of the ship, so he really shouldn't be like, oh yeah, and you said everything was sealed off, and Reed's just like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I did
And like
say that.
honestly, if the sensors and like the logs on the shuttle are saying that the doors are closed, and
Yeah, really,
if
what else can you do?
Right. If there was a malfunction, that's not Reed's fault. I'm assuming
No.
he's not the person that is responsible for maintaining the doors on the shuttle.
No, presumably that would actually be Trip.
Yeah, but Archer
That's
can't be
gotta
mad
be-
at Trip.
That's got to be one of Trip's underlings.
Yeah.
Well, I just mean it's his section as
Yes,
opposed
yeah.
to the bailiwick of the whatever armory dude.
Being
That was
fair,
actually what Daniels' actual job on the ship was maintaining
That's why it all went wrong.
the plasma vents on the shuttle pods.
Fuck.
but see, you never really know though, because like this season we have seen Reed both install phasers and invent the force field. So he's sort of an engineer.
The real jack of all trade.
I think he's an
Union
engineer
Jack.
when it comes to like munitions and destruction.
Yeah.
Found a new way to blow something up, Captain.
Yes. But yeah, I think it also just makes sense again, like I said in that scene, like emotions are running high, no one is being logical.
Except to Paul.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah, although I would say, for her, she was definitely at various points in this episode playing fast and loose with her Vulcanism.
Such as?
like, well, she's telling lies, she's dropping untruths.
I care what happens to you, Archer, or what?
No, I'm trying to remember. There was a moment where she had to do a subterfuge.
Oh, was it when she was pretending she was catatonic?
Right, that's what it was. Yeah.
How could you tell she was doing a subterfuge? Did she try to invite somebody over aggressively for dinner again?
Yeah, and then I just think, regardless of what she says, she was trying to cheer Archer up, which again is not a logical thing to do.
Yeah, but him being so mopey, she sees as illogical, so she's like, I gotta fix this.
Yeah, she sees it as like it's going to affect the function of this ship. So
She was being a first officer.
she was being a better counselor than Troy.
Low bar.
Mhm.
Oh, come on now. Troy's not even in this show.
Something I kind of wish they had done on this series in season 1 was make T'Pol be on Team Vulcan longer before joining Team Human.
Human.
Because it's like basically by the end of Broken Bow, she wants to hang out with the crew and be a Starfleet.
I think for me it feels less like she's necessarily on Team Human. Like I guess that's the thing. I never thought about this before you said it right now. You kind of sparked this thought of like she kind of feels like she's just on her side. And maybe she doesn't really know what that side is yet. Like, they have, like I said, they've dropped hints here and there that, like, she's never been fully satisfied with everything she's supposed to be. But she's not necessarily like, I'm going to hang with these people. Like, it's in this one where she very overtly says, I'm on their side. I think, literally, basically. Yeah. But I think that's I think what's been sort of weird about the character. And I think you just made me realize that's kind of what it is like, she is between kind of states the entire time. Because I never really felt like she was fully Team Vulcan, even when she was espousing their... Like, I think she felt like a lot of their ways made more sense, but still didn't feel fully enmeshed in a way. I don't know how to explain it better.
She always advocated for doing way more logical things than Archer ever asked to do. Like, it was always, Captain, I would advise not going down to that planet before scanning it. Captain, I would advise, not going and saving that Klingon ship that's going to explode any second now. Yeah. Captain, why are you making us do all this shit? Captain, don't make me hang out with a rapist. Shit like that.
Never has a bridge crew member been so ignored since Worf in TNG.
Yes, she's absolutely the Worf of this show.
But at the same time, she doesn't feel like a full Vulcan company man, for lack of a better term. Like, she's always like, you probably shouldn't, maybe do it this way, maybe this, maybe that, but she always at the end of the day just kind of shrugs too.
I wonder if she had like a Vulcan friend on the ship, if it would be a much more different dynamic if there were two Vulcans to both like team up and say, Archer, we both think this, and if you do it, we're not going to help.
Well, it never hurts to have backup. I think basically, though, T'Pol is just kind of like, I don't know, man, she's going through something. I think the further she is from home, the more she realizes that like what she thinks makes a Vulcan is bullshit. Because discovering that they were like, watching the Andorians and like, using the temple to, hide their war shit that then gets destroyed, and, finding out that her hero may have committed crimes and being like, fuck, my hero committed crimes. I mean, granted, it was not exactly true. I just feel like she's, the further she's getting from Vulcan, the more she's seeing what Vulcan's all about, and I think it's some really serious growing pains for her. Yeah,
well, I mean, the gem thing clearly pissed her the fuck off.
Oh, she was very upset.
Not as much as Archer, though.
No. Well,
impossible.
Not visibly.
Impossible to be as upset at Archer at any given moment about Vulcans.
She was Vulcan livid at the end of this episode. Like that was that was not on purpose.
She's out of her Vulcan mind.
But no, she was the Vulcan version of shouting when she mentioned Pajem at the end.
Yeah, and I'll also say, like, I remember someone, possibly Jake, saying that, Jolene Blaylock starts off pretty weak, and I think they even got like an acting coach and stuff. I don't think I've ever been distracted by her acting, though.
Because you're too busy looking at her nice bum.
It is a nice bum.
I do think she was, in the early episodes, I think was doing that thing some people do where it's kind of confusing, suppressing emotions.
Right.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
being a robot.
With not knowing how to act.
Well, just like, that Vulcans are, like you said, Caitlin, perfect word, understated, not just flat. And I think she shook that, I think, pretty quickly.
I think she's been doing, much better these later episodes, too, though.
She's she's never been as bad as, like, early seasons Terry Farrell was.
Oh, no, God. Poor Terry Farrell. She was awful.
Yeah.
And
but she grew so much, and we got to watch it happen, and it was lovely. So.
Yeah. And there's so many, like, one-off Vulcans we've seen that, like, didn't get the note and are just... I remember there was one in particular, I think some Vulcan Admiral in TNG at one point, possibly in the Wesley fucking Nick Locarno one, I think, was just like,
I'm
dead.
going to talk in monotone.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that's not a Vulcan, sir.
I know you guys haven't been watching Lower Decks, but the acting of T'Lyn, the Vulcan crewman, I think the actress is trying to do a robot. And every time she talks, I'm like, oh, honey, you think you're a robot.
It's funny, because again, I don't know the show, but the internet fucking loves her, so...
Oh, they do. They do love her.
I would have assumed she was doing better.
Then again, I have a high
loves
bar.
Anything Lower Deck, so...
That's true.
We are decidedly in the minority.
I don't know. I will die for Moopsie, so...
But honestly, like, if you look hard enough, the internet loves and hates everything in equal measures. I mean, the fact that there are people who fucking love Phlox is the most mind-fucking-blowing thing I've ever heard.
There were two Reddit threads that I don't know if they were adjacent, but I saw them in like a day apart last week. And the first one was, I just started watching Enterprise, and OMG, Phlox is my favorite character, or something like that. DAE love Phlox.
DAE?
Does anyone else?
Oh, thank you.
I also didn't know what it stood for.
That's internet slang.
I know some of them.
And then there was another one.
I know the LOL.
That was like, I'm showing my wife Voyager for the first time, and she hates Neelix. And then like every comment in there was like, yeah, no, she's right. Neelix sucks.
I actually
she'll
saw
come around.
I saw and commented on that one.
Good. Thank you, Chris.
Did you mention me?
No, but I did say just like, once they... Like, yeah, you gotta wait till they drop Jealous Neelix, because that sucks and is awful.
It does suck.
But all of his other writing is informed by his background, and he gets so much better.
I love him so much, and if you would have told me that, I would have fucking said that shit 2 years ago or whatever when we first started, I would have definitely said you were a fucking liar.
Okay, well, I'm going to say right now, you're going to love Phlox.
No, I definitely am not.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's got to be coming from somewhere. People seem to like this guy.
Yeah, but like honestly, he's just the most alien-looking one. People probably just want to fucking have him put it in them, and that's all it takes, you know? Yeah,
No,
sorry.
He looks like a fucking engineering fucking guy. Like he works for Bell Labs.
What's that mean?
What's wrong? But also, what's wrong with that?
There's just nothing sexy about working for Bell Labs.
I don't know. We don't know. How do we know?
What weird.
I don't know what Bell Labs is, so I don't know if we should be apologizing.
It's like a place like your stereotypical 60s era nerd look.
60s
So,
era.
like,
Pocket protector.
So, like George McFly
Forward
before
glasses.
Marty broke the path.
Yeah.
I am your density.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's really what John Billingsley reminds me of. And by extension, Phlox.
Okay, so for fun, I googled Bell Labs scientist, and the third
My God, it's a picture of Phlox.
picture, some man named John Bardeen who has Phlox's like hairline. So
Oh no.
There you go. That's where you got it. That's where you got that. That's a Bell Labs hairline if I ever saw one.
this has been fuck you, Bell Labs corner.
Parenthetical, but only because you make us think of Phlox.
Yes.
Oh man. So I don't know where Ron came from. I don't know if we'll ever see him again.
Oh, Ron, the other Suliban?
Yeah, Silik's little buddy there who just went full fucking Starscream.
Oh my God, yeah.
He is so clearly waiting for fucking Silik to get killed so he can take over.
100%.
Yeah, and all he'll do when he takes over is kill people.
Yeah, but
Fuck
I wish
the
he'd been here.
timeline.
I wish he'd been here the whole time, just mocking Silik. That would have been great.
And I did, you know, Silik's actually, I'm kind of getting to like Silik.
I felt so bad for him.
adversary.
I felt bad that his shape friend wasn't talking to him.
Yeah, like when he was like trying to get the device working, thinking that he was going to be talking to his friend, it was so pathetic and endearing.
I need instructions.
Can you hear me, please? I've been trying to get a hold of you. Oh, your car's insurance
I was
is
just
running
gonna
out.
say, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
And then he finally thinks he's getting his boss, and instead he gets 2 feet from Archer.
Oop.
How embarrassing.
24 inches of Archer, eh?
Oh, maybe he's not so bad after all.
Is it just me, or is that room where he talks to his boss decidedly less timey than it used to be?
Less what?
Timey's broken right now, so
The time is less interesting.
But I thought that was like like the room itself had some property that made
that's true.
time
Yeah.
That was only for the premiere.
Timey.
When they had more budget.
Yeah, yeah. Because actually, even when Shadow Man was there, they didn't have the cool effect. So you're right.
Well, maybe it was making viewers feel sick.
No, I'm going with Ames' version. Cheaper.
No, I know.
Probably, yeah.
Sure, it was just the money.
How many of the Suliban that we saw were the prisoners that Archer freed?
I hope none of them, you know?
He radicalized them. Or I guess it was Al that radicalized them.
I thought you meant in the real world. Like they probably just recycled actors.
No. I mean in show, like. Or any of them like, oh man, now that, fuck the Tandarans.
The Gitmo to Al-Qaeda pipeline, you know?
Well, yeah, but it isn't fuck, like right now though, it isn't fuck the Tandorans as much as it's like fuck the guy that saved our lives.
Yeah, but they don't know
which
that.
Kind of sucks.
Not all of them know that.
They would know.
I feel like they'd know.
That actually would have been kind of an interesting thing, is if, like, when they were in trouble, some of the Suliban he'd freed showed up.
Yeah, they're like,
we could
wait.
maybe get closure on the father and the other guy.
Nope, never.
Oh, no, we're definitely not getting that.
No, I know, and it enrages me.
Or, like, maybe they, when the ship was locked down, like, they thought they were about to get caught or something by one of the Suliban, and then it's like, he has him at gunpoint, and he's like, phew. You saved me from prison. Do your thing.
Yeah, because that's the thing about Cabal, the Suliban Cabal folk is they're just doing what humanoid shape tells them, or specifically what humanoid shape tells Silic. So who the fuck even knows what they're doing day to day?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like they're just hanging out, getting upgrades.
Yeah.
Although we didn't really see a lot of upgrades other than walking on the ceiling, which was cool, I guess.
Did look fun.
Does that mean they could be doing some dancing on the ceiling as well?
Eh.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Well, these are the jokes.
Oh, these are the jokes.
Yeah, I think is that I have. Even though they haven't known what the hell they're doing with him, I have always enjoyed Silic's actor. I've always thought he's done a good job.
Yeah, he does a good
with
job.
nothing.
Right.
As I have often said, the way the man says John just delights me.
You should have killed me when you had the chance, John.
But it was nice to see them actually give him something else to do. And like I said, seeing him like just so desperate for information kind of does you realize, like, I mean, it's always been obvious that he's working for this guy, but it's like, oh yeah, no, he is totally at sea without this man.
Jumping to the end. So Archer takes hostage Silic. Silic hostage is a more human way to put that. And then they release him again?
Yeah, apparently they let him go.
Why?
I think they just, they Archer docks, gets on Enterprise, and then they just shove Silic away. And Silic wakes up hours later and goes, fuck.
Why didn't they take him as a prisoner?
Because they don't have rules, which is the thing that when, like, Soval has some damn good points is the problem. When he's saying, Enterprise, you came at this too hard and too fast. You know what we should have done is made you any fucking guidelines and rules for when you're in space. Like, what to do when you have a prisoner like Silic. Because you don't fucking know. You let him go. You let Ferengis go. What the hell are you doing out there in space, asshat?
I mean, so not letting the Ferengi go. Letting the Ferengi go, I think, is sort of, that maybe didn't make a ton of sense. Maybe you should have schlepped them off to the Vulcans. I could see with Silic being like, all right, he works for some incredibly powerful people. We still don't really know what's going on. We make ourselves a giant target if we bring it. Let's just fucking cut and run.
Yeah, but the thing is, if he goes back, he's going to keep doing this shit.
Yeah,
well, yeah, but
if you take
him,
a prisoner, you can interrogate him. You can try to find out what the fuck his deal is.
Yeah.
And given the post 9/11 theming of this show, they could have some great waterboarding scenes or something.
Ugh.
Oof, that makeup would run right off.
Let's be honest.
They look so itchy.
No, I think they look like phloem. I think if you touched them, their heads, you could just squash them and be like, oh, this is fun. And they'd be like, please stop that.
That they can, at least the genetically altered ones can
squish,
contort their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I know. That's the one secret is even the non-altered ones, they can't fully shapeshift, but you can still squish their heads a little.
Good.
They just don't want anyone to know.
Are Suliban Kif's people, or Kif? Is Kif a Suliban?
You just kind of made, the best part about that is you kind of just made a Kif sound. You were kind of like, eh.
Well, I was going to start quoting Kif, but then I started laughing again. I was going to quote the fluid-filled bladders whatever, but I'll just find a clip, hopefully. They could be tricky. Anyway.
Neat.
Yeah, there is a Kifishness to them, I guess.
Kifishness.
Yeah, and on the flip of that, Daniels started intriguing me because when he goes to the future, and it is not at all what he expected, and he's like, and he was just terrified that he was stuck in this future that he has broken by accidentally doing exactly what the Suliban wants. Like, that was a very interesting Daniels to me because it was Daniels just untethered. I started liking that character because normally he's just like, I have information all the time, and he's got his nose up like a little snoot.
I'm an insufferable fucking, what's the dickhead that made Facebook's name?
Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm a insufferable Mark Zuckerberg. He does
look
clone.
a lot like Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
It's interesting,
I have a punchable face. Wah, wah.
Basically, part 2 has both Silic and Daniels untethered.
Yeah, fucked.
And both of them
They know
are
they
just like,
fucked.
whoa. And again, it's funny because basically both sides wind up completely untethered because Shadow Man thought he won, but like, oops. Because he doesn't exist anymore either, it seems like.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a damn good thing Daniel's kept a spare time machine in his locker, huh?
For real.
Right?
Well, most people kind of get over their high school years, but Daniel's apparently peaked.
Mm.
Oh yeah, no, that is fucking obvious.
Man, he was so judgy when he was like, it's a library. There's no books in there. Come on.
Oh my
Idiot.
God. When they walked in, I just thought of Archer going, no, I finally have all the time in the world to read and no glasses.
Yeah, books made of paper. Daniels, you big dumb.
You big
Daniels
dumb
is
dumb.
dumb.
Mm.
One thing that did, I will say, kind of annoy me with the second half was that apparently his history was drastically altered, but the cityscape, the main difference seemed to be they didn't have the Federation monument, and the library had books instead of whatever the Jedi
Kindles.
library had. Yeah. But aside from that, the city layout was the same, the building, like that, I was like, okay, come the fuck on now.
Yeah, you'd think it would be like the ruins of a 21st century city instead of
Yeah, like Daniel
a
shouldn't have known
31st
his...
century city.
Yeah, Daniel shouldn't have known his way around, but it's weird. With Star Trek, it feels like there's this... And, like, they actually outright say it in the first Kelvin movie, but there does sometimes feel like this idea that when time breaks, there's... The universe tries to self-correct. And we've seen, even like, yesterday's Enterprise, like things...
Anything in the mirror universe.
Yeah, like it does feel like the universe we follow is what the universe wants to be, and any kind of parallel does its level best to get to that.
Right.
So if we assume that is how the Star Trek universe works, then okay, but that's a strange thing to assume.
It's like Final Destination. Jake and I have been watching all the Final Destination movies, and holy shit, they go off the fucking rails. Literally.
I was gonna say that's literally how people die in those movies.
That's
the first one is fine. The second one is not great. The third one is better. Third one might be the best one so far.
Other than the first one?
Even the first one.
The first one gets credit for coming up with the premise.
Yeah. The fourth one was just off the hook ridiculous. I think I was reading about it, and they filmed it. It was intended to be watched in 3D, so that's why I think so many of the deaths
explains a lot
were
of the
like
things.
Squirting gore at your face.
I think I may have seen that one in 3D. I don't remember now.
Which one opens with the 3-minute long pile up?
Oh, that's 2.
That's 2.
The highway crash.
That one, so I've seen that scene, because since that scene has no music underneath it, someone took that scene and put yakety sax
Brilliant.
underneath.
Oh, I was
fucking
gonna say,
perfect.
But because there was no music, they didn't have to mute the rest of the audio. So all the rest of the sound effects, the characters, is all there. I'll try to find it. It's so funny.
That's great.
I feel like I've seen that. Did you show it to me? You must have, huh?
Must have, yeah. But yeah, I like that, Ames. That's what it is. The Star Trek universe follows Final Destination rules.
Perfect.
It really wants Kirk to exist.
When the Final Destination movies stop using Tony Todd, I think is when they really go downhill.
I didn't know he was in those.
Tony Todd is great in them. He's the creepy mortician guy.
Wait, who's Tony Todd?
Kern.
Yes.
And old Jake Sisko.
And old Jake Sisko.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
oh, yeah, of course.
Tony Todd's character knows all about how death works in this Final Destination. I wonder if that's just Jake Sisko. If he's just playing time-traveling Jake Sisko.
Cute.
There we
Very
go.
Cute.
Jake Sisko eventually gets drafted by our good buddy, your favorite character, Ames, from Voyager.
Lon Suter.
Chakotay.
Oh, darn it. Okay. Favorite time travel character.
Oh, god damn it. Duquesne.
He gets recruited by Duquesne.
I missed what we were talking about and could only think of Lon Suter.
But also, I just realized, no, that's correct. Your favorite Voyager character is Lon Suter.
Yay!
Yeah.
Is that Brad Dourif?
Yes, it
Doris?
is.
What the
He's
fuck is his name?
beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to jump back to the beginning of this episode, because I want to cross some of these notes off my list.
Yeah.
When we're going to the planet is called Paragon or some shit.
Yeah.
And we
Rebel.
learn it's a matriarchal planet. And they started this being like, oh, what are we gonna, like, women in charge? Oh, this is certainly gonna be different, isn't it? It's like, guys, wow. Two men wrote this.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to make sure, they had to make lady jokes.
Yep.
What
It's
happens
amazing
if
that-
their cycles sync up? Does the government shut down?
Oh, well, don't worry. The men are starting to get more rights. Wow.
Oh, that was a mistake.
I like that T'Pol was like, kind of, it's okay, it's getting better for you. But, she's Vulcan, so she doesn't do it quite so heavily. Yeah, thank God. I mean, it's sad those people are dead, but I couldn't have taken another Angel one.
No, they never do it well.
No.
Yeah, and I guess we do never really get closure on... I mean, the closure is Enterprise didn't start the fire. Yay.
It was always burning.
When they were still used,
silly.
though. Like, when...
It was fucking silly. I love it.
Here's the thing that kind of pissed me off, because yes, there were some really good moments of everybody doing the moping and feeling like, holy shit, something actually went really wrong because of us, which, even though it was Silic, it's still, you are still involved. But when Archer learns, like, oh, it wasn't us, it was a Suliban related thing after all, he's fucking giddy. Like, he's grinning and happy and ready to prance around the bridge. And it's still true that 3,600 people died, sir.
Yeah, but if I was in his position and I found out that wasn't directly my fault, I'd probably similarly lose sight of...
I would flip to anger, I bet. But that's the thing, is Archer is always angry. He is our angriest fucking captain.
That's his secret,
That's my secret trip.
Well, I don't know. I would liken it to like someone who got falsely convicted of a crime and then like it gets overturned on DNA evidence or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
but
that person's allowed to be happy.
But
despite...
in this crime that you're making up in your brain, someone pinned it on you. In this case.
Yeah.
Sure, you can be happy, oh good, finally they saw the evidence that it wasn't me. But no one's, like, we have to make sure, like, this is the actual guy to be mad at.
Well, they were already hatching a plan to get Silic.
Yeah.
Like he'd already, because by the time he realized it wasn't us, he'd already talked to Daniels and was already, plotting okay, we got to go back and find the cloaked ship thing. So I think they were mad. I think they used that mad to fuel their assault. Where again, they didn't kill any of the Suliban. They stunned them all.
Oh, did they stun them all?
Well, that they said it was a stun grenade,
Oh,
which we've
yes,
never
they
seen, which is a
did.
new thing. And I did think it was funny. Them all, like, he blasts off the stun grenade, and then they all just like fall off the ceiling.
Yeah, they
Just into a pile on the floor.
they just
Oh,
fall
God, it's
down like bowling pins.
I was saying, it's like when it gets too cold in some areas and the lizards go into hibernation and just kind of...
Yes.
What do the
Exactly.
lizards do?
They fall out
The
of
iguanas
trees.
do that in
Oh, poor
Florida when it gets too
lizards.
cold.
Well, the thing is, they usually end up being okay, but they always have to warn people, like, if you see a lizard on the ground in cold weather, don't put it in your car or something. It's not dead.
Might
It's
be
going
dead.
to thaw
It's
out
not
and-
dead, and it will come back to life while you're driving.
Yeah, it might be alive, and that
What
has
if it's
happened.
broken
like,
in half?
Well,
yes,
in that case.
That one's probably dead.
But there have been cases, I guess, of people like thinking like, oh no, it's dead, or maybe I should get it to a vet, and then they put it in their car. It thaws out, and then starts freaking out because it's in a car and it's a lizard.
Mm.
I'm a lizard, oh god!
I have no
That's what I was
concept of
thinking.
automobiles.
Oh my god.
I guess you could say that in theory they used a stun grenade because a regular grenade could have caused damage that could have come back on them.
Yeah. But again, it's just like, I kind of feel like you gotta, I don't know, take more of these people prisoner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta do something. Because, like, the
Yeah.
thing is, you're leaving all these guys out there, they're just gonna come kill you again.
Yeah,
You know,
actually,
they have time travel powers.
well, their
They have time-
bosses can
their boss can
call
talk
them
to
through
them.
time.
Yeah, I guess they can't themselves time travel, but they also have all this future technology that nobody else has, cloaking
True.
devices and things.
But you remind me of something I was going to say earlier, too. The thing is, if they took any Suliban hostage, or rather prisoner, or whatever if you want to call it, the Vulcans would just kill them.
It's logical.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'd just be like, well, not even that. They would just find them and be like, they beat the person to death while shouting, the Vulcan Science Directorate has determined time travel isn't possible.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked that recurring joke about, time travel not being possible.
Because there's still no proof, because you can't trust Archer.
Yeah, I love T'Pol being like, I still don't believe in time travel, and she does.
Oh, yeah.
She's bullshitting.
Well, he even says too, doesn't he? He's like, the hell you don't.
It was so sad when she was like recovering from torture, and her delivery of the Vulcan Science Directorate has determined time travel isn't fair.
That was cute. That was good.
Yeah,
I liked her in that moment.
Yeah.
But also, I think, when Archer is getting angry that T'Pol won't believe in time travel earlier in part 1, and he says, give me another explanation for what happened to me and why I have this information. And I wanted T'Pol just to be like, I could mind tampering, body possession, some kind of brain alteration. I could go on.
Yeah. Well, it's also, but again, I kind of like her response of I can't, because it's a very scientific response.
Yeah, you're right.
Because, it's like when you see debates between atheists and theists, and they're like, the theists are like, oh, you have to prove to me that God doesn't exist. And the atheist response would be, no, I think, the onus is on you to prove that this thing does exist, right? Like the extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And Archer's story about how he just had a conversation when he quantum leaped into himself with a dead man. I'm gonna need to see the tapes on that.
He
Archer
did quantum leap into himself.
Yeah, I know.
He sure
I noticed
did.
that.
Jake, I forget what noise you made when he said that line. I was like, what? He was like, it's a quantum leap thing.
I just said, oh boy, that's all.
It was cute.
Didn't that happen on the show once? Didn't he leap into himself right before his mission, and
yeah,
he had to consider warning himself or something?
Where he leaps into himself.
How do I know that? I've seen maybe 3 episodes.
Must have been one of the ones you've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that, they mentioned that Shadow Man there, his people can't time travel, they can only time call. It's just clearly the slingshot around the sun thing, they managed to keep that quiet. Feels like everybody be just doing it constantly otherwise. I mean, it certainly seems a bit dangerous and imprecise, but it's
I think
doable.
It's dangerous and imprecise, and only Spock is smart enough to make the calculations or something.
And Rom once did something with a nuclear explosion.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, just so
Still
funny,
dubious of that.
Time travel seems a lot harder in Enterprise than in any other Star Trek, where it's
it should.
If you trip the wrong way... Oh, well, wait, that's confusing. I'm using it as a verb, not as a character. But, someone, stumbles and pours coffee on the warp core, and it's like, fuck, we're in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Or, again, Duquesne and Captain Braxton. It's just hello, I've got my magic ship. And doot, 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 doot. Whereas, there's something, not only is it difficult, but it's clearly whatever time travel tech Daniels people have is very weird. Like you said, Jake, there's a quantum leap element. Daniels is dead, but isn't.
Yeah. Is he undead, or is this just an earlier Daniels? Clone? Is this a different... Is because the time changed? Did he come back because of that? That's fine.
That's the thing they don't say, which I kind of appreciate, because, again, I feel like the impression is, all we're supposed to know about Daniel's time travel is, it's fucking weird.
As weird as his outfit.
Yeah, like I said, like a bad still suit knockoff.
Oof.
Yeah.
It's
also possible that Daniels is when he travels back, or when he traveled back to Enterprise times, maybe he wasn't actually there. Maybe it was a projection or something. I don't know.
But he made eggs.
No, he just delivered eggs.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, he...
Don't I always make your eggs just the way you like?
No, you just drop them off, you dickhead.
And just this one time.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and that's what I was thinking. It's like, oh, maybe it's supposed to be like an earlier Daniels, but he seems to be aware of the fact that he died already.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
you
funny.
think they wouldn't let him know. You know, it's just like, yeah, their time travel is strange.
Maybe he's a Time Lord and regenerated.
He's just better at it and keeps his face.
You're crossing the streams.
That was a mistake, though. It's like, dude, if you can control what you look like, don't look like Zuckerberg. I feel like it's mostly the bad haircut. I feel like with a better haircut, he would look less like Zuckerberg.
I don't know.
I think
Less
Zuckerberg
vacant
with a
look in
better
the
haircut
eye.
would look less like Zuckerberg.
True. There's no hiding those soulless dead eyes, though.
That's
for true.
Yeah, he's a weird man.
I will give Daniels that. There is humanity in his eyes.
Dopey humanity, but still humanity.
I mean, dopey
tried-
humanity is the baseline in this series.
I tried using Zuck's metaverse the other day.
How'd that go?
What a fucking travesty that was. I was in
Oh
there for,
man,
like,
I want to
maybe-
see.
maybe 3 minutes, and I was in some like Wild West world, and it was just stupid.
Was James Marsden there?
No, they were just like
Ooh.
5-year-olds running around shooting guns at people.
Wow.
Oh,
The future sounds dangerous.
Yeah, and then I was like, yeah, this is really boring, and somebody's talking at me. I'm leaving now.
Yeah, no one wants this at all.
No.
Also,
Wait,
I
what is
forgot.
it? I don't think I've even heard about it. What the fuck is it?
It's just social
Is it
media,
is
but
it Second
VR.
Life for VR?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Second Life for VR is a good way of putting it, but with like even less stuff happening.
Well, what's funny
Wow.
is I've actually been rereading Neuromancer, and I
Mm.
completely forgot the virtual internet in Neuromancer is called the Metaverse.
Well, that's it. Comes
So that's-
the whole
that's-
term comes from that book.
I completely forgot, and like clearly that's what he wants it to be, and it's like, dude, it will never be this. Also, no one actually wants that.
It's also kind of dystopian. Like,
Yeah, like again, it's you know, it's a Twitter post or something or Tumblr, one of them that goes around on the internet frequently, but it's just like, you know, author saying like, I've written my book, you know, my book, the pain box or something, as a warning against, you know, humanity's bad ideas. Scientists, we have invented the pain box.
yes. Consumers, we want to buy the pain box.
Yeah. This is what happens when you defund the humanities for 40 years.
Speaking of, how did you guys like Archer's speech about gazelles?
Oh, God.
I don't think he
That
knew
was-
what point he was trying to make.
I don't...
It's like,
I mean,
okay, so here's what Archer seems to think. Gazelles, when they're born, they can run away because they're prey animals pretty quickly because otherwise they'd be a burden on other gazelles.
mhm.
Now, humans, when human babies are born, they're useless fucking things that are entirely dependent on the mother. Or, you know, other beings at the very least if there's not a mother around in immediate proximity.
Yeah.
Is he saying the humans should still be dependent on the Vulcans?
Yeah, I don't think he thought that through.
I think he did it wrong.
Very.
I think he metaphored wrong.
Yeah.
He just wants to call to Paul mommy.
Woof. A lot of the crew members seem to do that.
I think he just really likes gazelles and wanted to talk about them.
It's also a fun word to say, so.
It was
True,
it
true.
was kind of a weird analogy. Like the writer that came up with that.
Either
Having
Bragg
an
or
off day.
Berman.
It's actually...
Oh.
I like, afterwards, they're like, Captain, yeah, Trip, what the fuck was that gazelle nonsense? Oh, honestly, I was just hoping to confuse them with bullshit. Oh,
Yeah.
seems to have worked.
No Vulcan knows what a gazelle is yet. I could have said anything. I don't know. Is it better or worse than Trip's just yell at Soval as a tactic?
Yeah.
Uh,
Trip.
Okay, yes,
I mean-
we'll let you keep exploring because you yelled at me for 5 minutes.
I mean, to be fair to Trip, it wasn't gonna hurt.
True. Saval's one of those guys that, like, even when he's right, you don't want to agree with him because he's such a prick.
He does. He's got big prick energy, and not in the good way.
I don't know. See, I don't want to agree with Archer, so I wanted to agree with Soval at least a little bit. Because he
I'm
did
just
have some
gonna-
good points.
I'm gonna just agree with, I don't know, Shaft.
T'Pol. T'Pol's usually right, even though no one listens to her. How many other ships are there anyway? Is this the only ship in Starfleet?
This is the only NX class ship.
Yeah,
The
it's
only
the
Warp 4 ship.
5.
Warp 5. But it doesn't actually-
Warp 5
on
barely
paper.
for brief amounts of
Five
time.
on paper, 4 elsewhere. Yeah.
What else do they
Yeah, they're-
have?
They have
Not
other
much.
ships. I think, like, is it the Franklin, which we see in Star Trek Beyond, must theoretically exist.
Franklin's a little after this.
Oh, it's after this. For some reason I thought it was before this.
No, Franklin's the Romulan War.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we did get a Romulan name drop, which I did not
We
need.
did. We did, true. Which for some reason was across from Gore Vidal's Hollywood. It was really stood out. You could read it clearly. It's like strange thing to put there.
I'm guessing that the ships that Starfleet has are probably mostly doing like merchant marine type shit and like protecting convoys.
Well, they ain't really doing that, it seems.
I don't think they're doing. I mean, again, I don't think they have a big navy. I just think, I think Enterprise is the first ship of exploration that Starfleet has.
I think most everything else of theirs is just kind of keeping an eye on the solar system.
Yeah, not doing much else. Making milk runs to colonies and stuff like that.
Yeah, we do eventually see at least one other non-NX ship.
When do we get another NX ship? Because I know there is
Not
one
until
eventually.
season 4.
Oh, really?
Maybe in 3.
Jesus.
Maybe it shows up in 3.
Why does it take them so long?
They
can't only have Archer doing shit.
Well, remember though,
I just think it's like they don't have the facilities to churn out ships like they do in
later
series. Yeah.
And also, I think too, they even said here, like this is kind of the test run. So it's like, we're not going to make 3 of these if we're not going to use them right away. Like, I feel like probably what happens, if I had to guess, is like, they decide, all right, we'll keep going. And now they maybe have already laid the hull for the NX-2.
Yeah,
and
probably.
we'll start building in earnest.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting, it makes sense. Like, if you look at how long it takes to like, christen a
cruise ship?
I was gonna say like an aircraft carrier. Like those things take like 20 fucking years to build. Maybe not quite that, but they take a long fucking time to build.
Well, honestly, from planning to building, it might be close to that.
Well, I know. Yeah, with like aircraft too, it's kind of the same way. There's that blanking on the name of it now. The F-22. No, I don't know. Whatever. There's this the modern fighter jet that the US is deploying now was like a huge debacle that went, billions and billions and billions over budget. And
I think that was the Raptor.
Was that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, I think
this
that
is what we're
the
spending our
F-22
tax
Raptor.
dollars on.
Oh yeah, no, it's a nightmare.
Giant failures.
But yeah.
Make me another spruce moose.
Quagmire.
I have one remaining note I wanted to bring up on these episodes. And that's that it was a dagger in my heart that Majel didn't do and now the conclusion.
Me too. I was like, oh my god, I thought the same thing.
I was like, why isn't this Majel? And I checked, like, when did she die? No, she would still have been alive.
She was still alive.
Get her.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Well, but all she had to say was last time on Enterprise, which she's already said the words Enterprise and last
string
time
it
on.
together.
They didn't even need to fucking get her. They could have just meshed that shit together,
Yeah,
The thing is, she's not in the cast of the show anymore.
She wasn't in the cast of Voyager, and she still did those things.
She wasn't the computer.
Oh, she was
voice in
the computer. That's true. But I'm not thinking that as a cast.
Well,
member.
guys, remember that. Shit, I had a point. No, I don't remember what it was. Oh, this wasn't Star Trek Enterprise. This was just Enterprise.
Ugh.
Fucking stupid.
should have been Porthos.
Oh,
Just a couple of barks with subtitles, and now the conclusion.
Good point.
One thing I've been wondering, or wondering after watching this episode is, would this have been a better show if Vaughn Armstrong were the captain?
Oh, I like this idea.
Because he's good in every scene, I think.
who's Vaughn Armstrong again?
Admiral Forrest.
Admiral Forrest.
Yeah, we've also seen him as like a million other characters throughout the show.
He's a perennial alien of the week.
Yeah.
But he's a pretty strong actor, and like this is one of the first roles where we see him as just a human guy
Yeah.
And he does a good job with it. And he has an authority about him that's good.
I have a feeling
one-
I'd find him more sympathetic than I find Archer, because I mostly just find Archer annoying.
I mean, the thing is, they probably sort of been writing Archer the same way, though.
But
again,
he wouldn't have the angry reaction that Scott Bakula always has. That is what I get really just teed off with.
Yeah, I just don't think Scott Bakula is that great, to be frank.
But
No,
you
I
like
agree
him
with
in
that, but I do think this was probably his best outing so far. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah, I
he'll
think-
maybe he'll be getting better, just like DePaul. We don't know.
Yeah, is he better in Quantum Leap and other things?
He's just a totally different character in
fair,
Quantum Leap. You know,
fair.
it's hard to apples to oranges. I think. Like I don't know if he's a bad actor necessarily. I just don't know that this was a role for him as it is from what we've seen so far.
Which is wild, because he was like I think I mentioned in our Broken Bow episode, he was the only person that they had in mind for this character. When there was a worry that he wouldn't take it, it was like, well, we have no backups. We have to get him.
Wow.
Vaughn Armstrong,
They should have. I'd be interested in seeing what that looked like.
Mark Alamo.
Ooh.
No.
Jeffrey Combs. Let Jeffrey Combs be a human.
Never.
No, he's weird looking.
Yeah, exactly. Clint
That's
Howard.
why
Clint
they keep
Howard
putting him.
as
Oh
Captain
my
Jonathan
God,
Archer.
no! Speaking of weird looking people,
But they still have him play a Ferengi in that one episode, so he's doing
Right.
like a
split screen thing.
Oh my. We've had some times this season, haven't we?
I don't
We
know
sure
that we
have.
have. It's
I
been
just
so
said
boring.
times.
Times, you mean bad times.
I did not put an adjective on purpose. We've had times.
Oh, Times
yep.
New
Well, we
Roman.
sure have had times. Do you say Times New Roman?
He did.
I don't know.
You nerd.
Yeah. So far, just looking back as we're segueing smoothly as we do into season chat, unimpressed.
Yeah, this was a rough one.
Yeah.
Still better than TAS.
Still better than TNG S1. I'm gonna
Yeah.
boldly
Yeah.
proclaim.
I was
Yeah.
comparing my grading list to TNG season 1, saying like, okay, if this season was very meh, let's compare it to TNG, because TNG it was either meh or terrible is the thing.
Yeah.
Well, so much of Enterprise is just so meh.
Yeah.
That's been the hardest thing for me in trying to compile the tops and bottoms is like it's like the quality gap is so narrow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like okay, the best episode of the season and the worst episode of the season are really not that far apart. And so much of it was just like, yeah, this one was bad, but like nothing really stuck out. There was one episode I think that stuck out to me as just, this was heinous.
Yeah.
This is awful. This should have never been made. And there was one episode that stuck out to me as like, okay, this one was pretty good. I would watch this voluntarily again. But then every other episode was just so middling.
Yeah.
For me anyway, that I just like, honestly, two of my bottoms and two of my tops are practically interchangeable.
Wow.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's kind of fascinating.
And,
I mean,
and in
there's-
fact, like, yeah,
I
had the hardest time coming up with bottoms.
I have a feeling like we could have ones on both lists on this season. So,
And in both cases, it would be perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go first.
ooh, funsies.
And I'm gonna fuck with it. I'm starting with bottoms again.
Bottoms up.
Yeah, I knew. I figured. That's the thing, though. Like they're the same list, so
Exactly,
it doesn't
so
matter
fuck
which
it.
one you pick.
Bottoms, because this is weird. Like, what I always do, I go through the list of episodes. I try to remember what I felt at the time, what I felt after our discussion, if I can read all that.
Well, it's hard with this show because you fucking feel nothing always.
Right. So the thing is, I can't say exactly what it is about this one that made, I kept coming back to this one. My number 3 is Silent Enemy.
Interesting.
Silent
it-
but deadly.
It was
Deadlim
just,
led me.
I don't know what was going on with that. The alien design was bizarre. The pacing was fucked up. There were so many interesting ideas and none of them gelled, which could be so much of this show. But I don't know what it is. I can't explain why this one particularly is just like, no, fuck that one. I think, because again, I remember even going into this one, I remembered how stupid the aliens looked. Something about this episode has always stuck with me as just, no. So, there's no good reason, just, it bothers me, for lack of a better term. Number 2, getting off on a bad foot with Broken Bow.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
As we said at the time, and I think a couple times since, somehow nothing happened and too much happened all at once. Just an absolute disaster. And the worst episode of the season, Fusion.
Oh, yeah.
Just why? No, not necessary.
Very
Excellent
upsetting.
work.
Nope, sorry. It's in the writer. She's the sexy character. It's time for us to rape her.
I gotta say, Blalock did a great job, but God, that episode shouldn't have existed.
Terrible.
Can I just say, I appreciated that the T'Pol torture scene in Shockwave there was no sexual implications at all.
Yeah, but
It was
later on,
just-
she's in her tiny tank top.
That was annoying.
That's just how she dresses. That's just how they decided to dress her. But I did
Yeah,
like
don't
that.
slut shame to Paul.
There was no creepiness to the torture. It was just, we're going to torture you to get some information.
Yeah, I had both your thoughts. I was like, oh, wow, this is just okay. But then, yeah, it's like, oh, and now she's in her 90. Great. Thanks, guys. Also, a sort of an honorable mention of sorts. The only thing that kept Desert Crossing from being in my bottom was Clancy Brown. Like, the rest of the episode, could do without it. But when he's on screen, I'm so happy.
Cute.
So well done, him.
Anyone want to go next?
I'll go.
Cool.
I would like to echo Chris's feelings on Broken Bow. What a terrible way to start a season.
Yeah, just in
and a series, not just
manner.
a season, but a series.
Mm.
Dear Doctor,
Yup.
I'm sure that there may very well have been worse episodes, but none of them featured Phlox as heavily, and so I can't remember them.
It's not even what he did. It's just that he was there so much.
So much Phlox. Fuck this episode.
If there's an episode next season where they just put a fucking picture of him in the top left-hand corner of the episode, it could be the best episode ever, and I'll just be like, that fucking guy was there the whole time. So yeah, fuck Phlox. And his fucking questing fingers taking celery off my plate. I swear to fucking God.
Questing fingers sounds so dirty, but then it's stealing celery.
Well, what can I say? And last and certainly not least, Fusion, because fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit.
There are times when I regret that I'm not more like eloquent and don't have better things to say, but honestly, fuck that shit really summarizes everything about Fusion.
I'm pretty sure in that episode I said fuck that shit about 90 times.
Well, again, just such a smarmy fuck, such a gross thing. Again, I actually listened to that episode recently and was reminded of like oh, what a shame. I thought you were, not a fridge or whatever.
Hate it.
And just fuck that.
Yeah. And again, like, that guy, great job playing a fucking monster. Still didn't need that episode.
That's my bottoms.
Good bottoms.
Thank you. I get that a lot.
Not as good as Archer's bottom.
Trip?
Ha!
Oh, God.
I was going to say, there was one point I never noticed. They talk about T'Pol's bum, but at one point, Archer was at profile. He's got a bit of a tuchus on him.
Has he got some cake, does he?
A little bit.
It might be
Frost that
stuffing,
cake.
though. We don't know.
I'll go because my bottom three, the theme is oh God, well, I had a theme. Fuck my life.
Was
What
it about
I want for Christmas?
I was just gonna say that. No.
Oh my God, I
It's
can't
got
find
this-
the word in my stupid brain. Brain, find the word.
Word for what?
Word for it's the blank of the thing.
Principle?
Principle. There it is. Thank you, Caitlin. You found it. Yes. My three bottoms are all because of the principle of the thing. The worst. I'll start with the worst. I'm going to
fuck that
say
one.
Dear Doctor because motherfucker, did they get evolution wrong and then pat themselves on the back for it. And I hate that so fucking much.
Oh yeah, right. Those reasons also. Those really good reasons for hating that episode.
And
Yeah.
also there was just so much flock. So yes, that one's worst of the list. Next, the principle of the fucking thing. Fusion. Shouldn't have fucking happened. Shouldn't have done all this shit to T'Pol. I have no idea what to feel about Vulcans anymore or what they're trying to say about Vulcans fucking ever in this show now. Because of Fusion, and fuck it. But the stretchiest, the principle of the thing that I had to include, because of the principle of the thing, is the Andorian incident. Because it is the episode in which I specifically found I started disliking Archer so much. And it has colored the rest of the season for me into thinking, wow, Archer is always petty and racist and assumes the worst of Vulcans at all times. And in this episode, when he was being petty and racist, at the very end, he gets to say, "Oh, but I'm justified because they were actually doing it wrong." And it makes me really upset with Archer and how this series seems to decide, Archer's right, therefore, fuck Vulcans. And I'm like, no, god damn this episode. Didn't like it because of the principle of the thing. How about you, Jake?
Yeah, so like I said, I had a real hard time coming up with these bottoms. I'm going to start by saying that all the ones that you listed are 100% on the bottom for me as well. But just to give ourselves a little variety,
I like it. More screen grabs.
I'm going to throw up some ones that haven't been named yet that I think need mentioning. So I'm going to throw out Fight or Flight.
Oh, man.
That's the vampire episode.
That's where Hoshi kills a fucking lizard on a planet.
Yeah, and honestly, that's real. Like, it's the vampire plot was stupid, but really it's the stupid Hoshi B plot that earns it bottom billing in my estimation.
So could someone please remind me what the fuck happened? Because literally all I could remember was Hoshi killing a slug. What else happened to that?
They find a ship, a derelict ship. They board the ship. There's bodies being drained of their blood.
Right.
And then they get attacked.
And Hoshi freaks out.
Yeah.
And really the whole thing is the whole time she's like, I don't know if I belong in space.
Oh, my lizard is dying.
That's annoying.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remembered that, but not the rest of it.
Yeah, because the rest of it is really lacking in anything notable. It's a very forgettable episode otherwise. Deeply. It's not offensive in the same way as a Dear Doctor is, but I wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
So this one was debatable for me, but there were things about it I really disliked. Fortunate Son.
Oh, that one was low on my list too. I'm glad you're
surprised.
I couldn't remember why though, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Again, another fairly forgettable episode, but it comes down to lacking anything in the realm of dramatic tension. We have a potential battle with Nausicaans. How badass is that? No, it's just going to be fucking boring. Stupid, no stakes, no one gets hurt, no one dies. For some reason, we see the air escaping from inside. What the fuck?
Yeah, and also this episode, I just really it did Mayweather dirty, and he'll never get another chance.
It could have been a place to do some actual work with Mayweather, but we don't. We spend a little bit of time with him, and then he becomes a dickhead, and we don't even like him.
Nope.
And I try, I couldn't, I wanted to, be contrarian and put some ones that hadn't been mentioned before, but I just could not leave my bottom list without this one, because it wouldn't be fair to not have a sweep for Fusion.
Oh, you're not saying Dear Doctor.
No.
Fascinating.
No, I mean, here's the thing.
I didn't either, so.
I think I said this at the time. Dear Doctor has the DNA, so to speak,
of
a good episode. Like, there's some interesting shit that they could have been doing there.
But there's some other DNA that we want to let live instead.
Right. Yeah, but it just goes totally off the rails. Like, I don't even mind Phlox as the character, and like his interactions are okay in that one. They're not as bad as in other ones. But yeah, the writers, what they did in that episode just really pissed me off. But again, it wasn't enough. If I didn't include the other two, I mean, it certainly would have been on my bottom. But like I said, I wanted to leave some. I wanted to get some variety in here.
And I appreciate it.
There's
Fusion is unforgivable.
There's a version of Dear Doctor somewhere in the ether that's maybe decent. There's no good version of Fusion.
Right. Yeah, because like obviously the mind rape takes center stage in that episode, but got to remember that the rest of it was also quite stupid. Even if you take that out entirely, it's still not good.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Well, there it is.
So moving on to the.
So it goes.
Moving on to the good.
I guess
ones.
These are okay.
Oh wow! I said I'd be sad if it was here.
No! Damn
acquisition.
it! Rats.
Ooh.
They did not.
They never got
provide-
over acquisition for you.
No, they didn't give me something good enough to be number 3. I'm as sad as you guys to see it here, but it's here.
I don't think you're that sad.
No, I'm genuinely, really, like, God, guys, really? You didn't? Wow. Shockwave Part 1.
Fair enough.
They finally wrote an episode, for lack
It
of a
feels
better
kind of
term.
like Star Trek, even.
Yeah! And Shuttlepod 1.
Nice.
The only survival episode that I didn't find tedious.
Yeah, and they
Nice.
did a great job. I think
They did.
the Keating and Trenier are adorable in it.
Yeah, and I'm glad it worked out for them because they made the poor bastards act in the genuine freeze.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, it paid
Enjoy
off.
the ice cold. So I also said Shuttlepod 1
Coolies.
because I loved it, aside from that stupid ass dream. And
Oh, yeah.
I also said Shockwave Part 1 because, wow, what a great episode all of a sudden. I mean, for Enterprise. Let's not get
For
carried away. But I'm like, I mean...
Wow, you guys came close to the bar. Good job.
And finally, and I know this is a unpopular opinion, but I actually really liked Fallen Hero. I really liked.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I really liked our Vulcan ambassador person. I thought she was pretty rad.
Yeah, and
I,
Peter Flanagan
um,
rocks.
That's reasonable. I don't think we-
liked T'Pol being a little uncomfortable, and I liked the brief time when I thought that Archer was going to totally bone down with Mavar or whatever the fuck her name was. What was her name?
Valar.
Valar. Were they on Mavar?
Mazar.
Mazar. I was close, V's and Z's.
Yeah,
V is
they were-
really just a sideways Z,
Very rhymey that week.
Yeah. But I don't think we disliked that episode,
No,
generally.
I thought, that was an okay
Well, I thought,
episode.
Chris, I thought you thought it was boring.
I was a little bored, but that's true of so many episodes this season that I didn't
Yeah, see, that's the
hate.
thing is I actually, legitimately was not bored. It was probably the most interested I've ever been in an episode up to that point, so...
That's fair. That's fair.
Anyway, but that's my tops.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm gonna say
I wrote my list ahead of time, Ames.
Yay, good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say thank goodness Shockwave Part 1 ended up being enjoyable because otherwise I had just this slump of pick one of these 4 to be in the list because I still don't know which one I would pick if we didn't watch Shockwave and I actually found it to be interesting. Like the cliffhanger at the end, seeing the ruined city is a very nice cliffhanger and they did a good job with that. Because that one's going to be my number 3 place, so I don't have to pick between. And here's the rest of the list just to piss Chris off.
No.
But could have been Strange New World, because why not? Or Civilization, because the girl was pretty. Or Breaking the Ice, because there was a snowman shrug. Or Silent Enemy, because that would be very funny to me. Because except for the aliens, there was some horror, I guess.
Yeah.
But the other 2 that are actually on my list that I didn't hate, I'm going to say Vox Sola.
the Jizz Monster.
With the Jizz Monster, because I found that was a new alien concept, and that's always good to have a new alien thing. And literally the only episode I legitimately could say I liked was Shuttlepod 1.
Jake.
Yeah, so I have some overlap. I'm going to say Shockwave.
Cool.
Because, I think probably... it's a good episode.
It took them a
I agree.
season to figure it out.
Yeah.
But that gives me hope for next season,
And
not
I
a
agree.
ton, but a little. Sorry, Jake.
And I agree. Okay, good. I do agree with the rest of you that Shuttlepod 1 is the highlight of the season.
Mhm.
100%.
And
But is
my
it
third
on
pick-
your list?
It is on my list.
Okay, good. You were starting your sentence like, while I agree with you, I'm going to say no.
Definitely the highlight of the season. And then my third one, I struggled. And I'm going to end up giving it to Oasis.
I was
Ah.
wondering if Oasis would come up.
Remind me which one Oasis was.
That's-
Is that one of the... We're going to Ryza. Wait a minute.
No, that's the hologram people
With Rene Aubergenois.
with Renee Auberjonois.
Oh, love Renee.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Is it mostly for Renee?
him being in there definitely was a point in favor of that episode. However, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It's well trodden ground. Like we've been in this exact scenario pretty much before. But I don't know.
And Renee was there too.
And Renee was there. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. Yeah. It didn't bother me.
I like that between you and I, Jake, both the episodes from the episode of our show that I titled Reeks of Desperation have made it onto our tops lists.
It's because they knew they needed to put out familiar faces for people to like.
Yep.
You love us now. We gave you what you wanted.
No. We don't love you. Let's.
Yeah, I'd like
reel it
to.
in.
I'm curious because it didn't show up in any. I don't think anyway it showed up in any list. But I was wondering what folks felt because I kind of want to honorable mention it, but I guess everyone else's thoughts on it. Shadows of Pajem. It does have
Was that the follow up with Shran being like, "I haven't slept"?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how
Middle
I
of the
feel
pack.
about that one.
Like there's some really cringe moments, like the
Boobs in the face.
boobs in the face, the motorboating scene.
Thing is, it wasn't quite as tasteless as it could have been, you know?
That's true.
Like,
They
it's
could have been a little-
unfortunate that they had to make him, like, land on top of her or have her land on top of him. But, I mean, I think otherwise he wasn't like, honk, you know?
Well, his hands were bound.
That was
I
a
don't know, I
cut
did think-
scene, you see.
Oh, I see.
I thought that episode did some, aside from that, some more interesting things with T'Pol than we'd seen in other episodes. And I do like the Andorians when they show up. But again, I could just be
One of them
coloring
is-
that with
One of them is
future
a
appearances.
creeper.
That's
They-
true. Well,
so far
he
they've
wasn't a
only
Oh,
creeper
yeah,
ever
that
this
guy
brought
one.
sucks.
We hate
Um,
that Andorian.
And we did get to stick it to the Vulcans, which is always fun.
Lies. I love the
Um,
Vulcans.
I think another one I want to call it either as a low or highlight, depending on your perspective, but I do want to mention it. I have a mention of Detained.
That's another
Yeah.
one
And
right
that's
in the
the
middle.
Suliban one?
Mm,
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
The
that's
actually
Sul-
Suliban internment camp one?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
don't
actually
know.
very surprised. Chris especially, but anyone in general, didn't put Cold Front on their bad list.
Which one was Cold
I
Front?
don't even remember
Cold
that
Front
one.
is when
so.
Daniels first dies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible skydiving. It's
Then there's the skydiving and the room with no air in it. And
I mean, that's also when that's both when Crewman Daniels appears and when he dies.
Yeah. I think, honestly, it's another one. I think it's saved just off the list because I do enjoy Silik's actor. Like, they give him nothing to work with, and he just churns out wonderful, smarmy weirdness. Like, I remember reading it's like, oh, right, the Pilgrims and this. And that. I forgot Daniels was in that one, and that's kind of the whole point.
man, I had a screen grab ready to go and everything of Silik doing his skydiving. I was so proud of myself.
You can make that the cover for the article. It's just the stupid skydiving bullshit.
Actually, just make it the screen cap for this episode. Don't do usual split. Just that
Doesn't even
picture.
make any sense.
But you make it. Do it for you.
It's my Windows desktop now.
No, you know what you need? You need it to be half Silik's bad skydive and half that guy that fell out an elevator in Voyager.
Oh, in Rise?
That terrible CG shot.
Man.
Oh,
Jake and I recently rewatched Rise, and it's like, yeah, it's a good episode. It's a good episode. Oh, that fucking
That
fall.
CG,
Fucking
though.
CG.
So bad.
I mean, it's not just it's how the guy like runs backwards.
That's right.
out of the door, and then there's the terrible CG. The whole thing, that whole sequence is terrible. Otherwise,
like,
not a bad episode.
Right, yeah. But that sequence is terrible in like just the most wonderful way.
Yeah,
It's like, this is beautiful. No words, 10 out of 10 for shit.
No notes.
Yes, that's no notes.
You did it.
No
you
words,
didn't-
should have
you
said
did it
a
in one
poet.
take.
Yeah, I will say, because I mentioned a few times, but like I feel like a lot of good guests this season. We liked Fiona Flanagan. I liked, I think a couple was like, Clancy Brown. I enjoy Silik.
Yeah, Vaughn Armstrong is always strong.
Yeah.
Renee,
Yeah.
the Ferengi are all nice to see, despite the silliness.
Especially that fourth one that no one knows who the fuck he was.
Joe the Ferengi.
We'll see his actor again if that helps.
Oh, fun.
He comes back as something else.
Nice. So yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping maybe Maybe Shockwave is a sign that we're off to something a little better going forward. Maybe my fond memories of this show come from here on, maybe?
Well, I mean, what is coming up, Chris?
Well, that's an excellent question. Next week, we get
Well,
into
gosh,
season
Jake,
2
I'm glad you
proper. That's interesting. So the first episode of season 1 is Broken Bow. The first proper episode of season 2 is Carbon Creek.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mended Bow.
Yeah. So it's Carbon Creek and Minefield. So look forward to that. I genuinely will, because I don't remember Minefield at all. So, maybe things are looking up. We'll see. Christ, I hope so, because this was a long-ass season.
I don't know. We've
Follow
also
us.
got a new character spotlight because we're back to character spotlighting again next week.
Oh, that's right.
And we're starting off with an interesting choice because we're going to be doing Deanna Troy.
Well, I'm sure if we have a week to think about it, I'm sure we can all come up with something she did that was good.
Something that she did at all.
Still a better therapist than Esri.
Debatable.
Esri actually treated patients. Like, she actually helped Garrick.
Well, she tried. Anyway, that's next week. Please, until then, keep following us on your favorite podcast application. Follow us on the Facebook and the SoundCloud and the Tumblr, where Ames will have put up our lists and her screenshots, or she'll just say fuck it, and the entire article will just be that screenshot of Silic skydiving 7 or 8 times.
Yay!
Tune in to find out. Until then, this has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is supposed to be Jake, allegedly.
Allegedly.
If he was that would definitely be like, if he was the... I fucked that up, but yes.